Okay, kids, it's time for another episode of the Fueled by Weird podcast, the only podcast with twin magic. I'm Chris Daly, and today I'd like to welcome Mr. J. Michael Miller to the show. Mr. Miller, how are we doing tonight, sir?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. It's a pleasure. I'm glad to finally get to chat with you and glad to bring another Idaho boy into this thing. I'm very, very excited.
I'm excited to talk with you about it too.
Heck
It's
yeah,
not
man.
not too many people with Idaho
It's
and
true.
indie comics that you get to hear about that aren't local
It's very, very
when
true.
you're online.
It's cool to kind of bring some more attention to the Spud State because not a lot of people know about it, so it's very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Okay, so first thing I want to start with is an icebreaker question. So today's icebreaker question is, who was or who is your celebrity crush?
I don't know how famous my wife is, but she went viral on TikTok a couple of times. Does that count? Is that a good
Hey,
answer?
sure, that'll work. That'll work. Very cool. What did she go viral for?
She had a TikTok that got like over 1 million views
Oh,
doing a
nice.
trend about Barbie and Ken and their professions, talking about Barbie's profession over Ken's.
Nice. Very cool. I'd say for me, I kind of just stuck with when I was growing up. My celebrity crushes, they're definitely, well, they're still kind of there now, but my first celebrity crushes were the Pink Power Ranger from Power Rangers, the OG one.
Yeah,
Us old nerds out there are definitely
common
gonna
one.
know that. Oh yeah,
I loved Power Rangers, one of my favorites.
me too. Amy Jo Johnson, that's her name. I don't know
Yeah,
why I couldn't remember. The other one, of course, a lot of other guys is in the 90s crush, Topanga from Boy Meets World.
I also loved Boy Meets World.
That's
We were just talking about TGIF last night.
nice. That's something that kids nowadays just wouldn't appreciate, don't understand. That was
Yeah,
quality TV back in the day.
it was.
Right on. Okay, dude. So, let's kind of just jump into it. What are some of the things you do in your spare time when you're not busy working making comics? What are some of your hobbies, your interests, stuff like that?
Um, I'm pretty much everything is about family and comics. We went camping a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I was going to
I
ask you about that.
I forgot when I launched the Twin Flames when I was picking the day that was also the day I was starting my 4 day camping trip.
Oh
So I
man.
had to leave my camping site to do my first podcast for the Twin Flames.
Oh shoot.
And that was a half-hour drive away, but it wasn't too big of a deal. It was like 6 o'clock local time.
Nice.
And we've been watching some TV shows, getting caught up on Malcolm in the Middle, so we can watch the new
Nice.
season
Very
or
cool.
new few episodes. I've got stuff in the to be read pile. We go play games and have dinner every Saturday with some local friends.
Nice.
Go
Very
for
cool, man.
walks.
Very, very cool. So the camping trip went good. It looked like it was a good time.
Yeah, it was. I got to pet a duck.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah,
And
you
also
probably even know where because you're in Idaho.
I do probably. Where did you go?
We went to Max Creek
Oh, okay, yeah, I
near
know
Lucky
about.
Peak.
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's very cool. It's I heard it's really nice up there.
It is.
Very cool. Speaking of family, it was just Father's Day recently. Did you have a good Father's Day?
I did. It was a good Father's Day. We,
Nice.
I am finally caught up on all of the Spider-Man spin-off movies with Sony. The last
Nice.
one off the list was Morbius.
Okay.
I don't love that I watched it, but it was
I've heard that's
crossed
kind of
off the
the
bucket list.
that's kind of the general consensus I've heard. I still haven't watched it yet because I'm pretty far behind, but
I was too. I still am, but not with those. I finally got caught up. But Morbius was probably my least favorite, but the
sure.
last one I watched.
Nice. So it sounds like you just kind of had a pretty chill stay-at-home Father's Day.
Yeah,
Nice. That's my favorite kind of Father's Day. And my wife is like, "Are you sure you don't want to go anywhere?" I'm like, "No, all my stuff's here. Like, why do I want to go anywhere else, you know?"
yeah, just family
Yeah,
memories.
there you go. And it's kind of funny speaking of, staying at home. I heard over the weekend someone's like, don't say stayed at home, say you enjoyed your mortgage. And I was like, I kind of like that positive connotation, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
You
I
know,
don't have a
some
mortgage because I'm not that well off, even personally, but
sure.
that's a,
Yeah, it's,
I love the concept of it though.
yeah, stayed at home, instead of staying at home, I enjoyed my lease or I enjoyed my mortgage
Yeah,
or whatever, something like that.
you're right.
That works.
Yeah,
I like that. That's a good, I like that.
it
I like
is.
that a lot.
I like it too.
All right, man. So why don't we take a minute to talk about living in Idaho? Because like we said, we're a couple of Idaho boys, and Idaho doesn't get a lot of the attention that it definitely should deserve. Because there's nerds all over the place. You just don't hear a lot of nerds coming from Idaho. So being a guy in the industry, why don't we talk a little bit about uh, creatives in Idaho and bringing some attention back to the potato state.
That'd be awesome. So I am in Idaho. There are some other creatives that meet up that I went to last month. I wasn't able to go this month because I had a summit editorial call on Saturday morning. But there's a Treasure Valley comic creator meetup that happens on the second Saturday of every month at the Collectors Outpost. That's
Nice,
hosted by Van Notes that puts it together. He's a local artist. He also writes some stuff for Scholastic.
nice. That's cool, man.
Um, there's also you that I'm aware of. I started going to Gem State Comic Con a couple years ago. I wore this shirt and somebody asked if I was Blake there.
That's
And
awesome.
um, then last year I went to Boise Comic Arts Festival for the second time. I got to talk to Stephanie Williams at
Oh,
a after
cool.
a panel, and that's where I talked about Summit Comics and was able to get her involved for the backup for the Twin Flames.
Right on, dude. That's awesome. And you're in Boise, right? Or right around Boise?
Yeah, I moved to Boise. Technically, I'm in Kuna right now, but
Okay. That's
I
cool.
moved from Las Vegas to Twin Falls in eighth grade, and
That's
then
a
to
heck of a
Boise in
move.
2012. Yeah,
Nice. That's cool. Yeah. My wife, a lot of her family lives in Kuna actually, so pretty familiar with the area. We just went there a couple summers ago. So yeah, you're only about 4 hours north of me, I think, because I'm in Idaho
yeah.
Falls. So yeah, you're
Oh,
you're just a
yeah,
short drive away.
not too far.
But yeah, her family lives in Kuna or right around the Kuna area, so that's a nice area up there.
Yeah,
Very cool, man. Okay, so why don't we take a little minute to step in the Wayback Machine? I want to go all the way back and find out what it was that originally inspired you to become a writer in the first place.
that's a good question. I started writing since I was a kid. I always thought it was a fun way to make sure that your voice got heard, especially the way that um, really the language can be used at all. I always just soaked in all kinds of media, whether it was reading or TV, but I liked even poetry, flowering language, superhero cartoons,
Nice.
the notebook, everything.
Did you have any superhero cartoons that, were your favorite? I'm
I
guessing being a kid in the 90s, I can probably guess, but I want you to talk about them.
probably my favorite was Spider-Man, the animated series. And I also loved X-Men, the
Yep.
animated series.
Hmm.
I liked Saturday morning cartoons and the it was Fox Kids at the time.
Yep.
And I watched the Spider-Man Unlimited and was excited about that. I
Mhm.
actually won a free tech deck in the mail for the local kids TV station for mailing
Nice.
something in
That's awesome.
for my love of Saturday morning cartoons.
Man, and that's another concept kids nowadays would never get. The Saturday morning cartoon. Ah, that was a magical time.
It
That was
was
good, good stuff.
right after TGIF.
Yep. Absolutely. Right after TGIF, another thing that just kids just don't appreciate because everything's on demand now. They can just watch it whenever the hell they want.
Yeah,
So crazy. But that's cool,
it
man.
is.
You've been writing since you were a kid. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. And I totally forgot to even I got ahead of myself. I think it's kind of neat that, people thought you were Blake. Shout out to Blake, by the way. Blake's Buzz. Blake Morgan is a great dude. Um, I gotta steal Mr. Miller from you first, Blake. I apologize, but I'll make sure he gets prepped and ready for your show because he's gonna go on right after this. So I'm gonna make sure he's ready for you. But yeah, go check out Blake's Buzz. He's a good dude. Love more,
Right.
hate less, read comics. He's a great guy. Go check out his show every Wednesday. Yeah, so sorry, I'm a little over the place today. I apologize.
That's okay. I go all over the place too.
Fair enough. So let's actually pivot now to what got you interested in comics.
I probably started with the love of Spider-Man and all those stuff from cartoons. I loved Batman the animated series a lot too.
Yeah.
But my grandma got me a couple of comics when I was a kid. But what really got me into comics specifically was I looked through the yellow pages to find a comic book store near me in seventh grade and spent birthday money and found Spider-Man 2099
Oh,
and was
nice.
blown away that there was a Spider-Man of the future.
Yeah.
And so I got some of that and Amazing Spider-Man, some Star Wars comics back when it was
Very
at
cool.
Dark Horse. And um, I went there several times that year before moving to Idaho and losing contact with comics completely
Yeah, it's almost like,
until
Idaho's,
2015 when I moved to found out there was one in Boise.
yeah, it's like, unless you're in one of the big cities in Idaho, it seems kind of like a comic dead zone kind of.
Yeah, I it was 2015 when I was going through depression in 2015, and I was kind of going back to old hobbies and found out that there was a comic book store, Captain Comics, in Boise. And so then
Nice.
I found indie comics more there. I saw some image titles and saw that stories could be more than just superheroes, even though I'd kind of seen them before. I really read them and absorbed them, and then refocus again on comics about 2022, 2023, after I'd got my writing degree and thought I would write TV shows or something like that
Yeah,
because comics can be made anywhere instead of having to be in LA or somewhere else.
most definitely. Very cool. Yeah, I think it's really cool to kind of start seeing, more people come out of Idaho, like we were mentioning earlier. Joe Quesada is another one that he's an Idaho
Right.
transplant now because I think he's down Sun Valley way, so he's still kind of adjacent, but still, transplants
Yeah.
count, that's a pretty big name to bring some attention to Idaho, I think. Um,
Joelle Jones is also she was born here, I believe, or lived here when she was a kid. She
hmm,
came here for a Wonder Girl signing with for DC Comics a few years ago,
nice.
and she also has been part of local events too sometimes.
That's cool.
Yeah,
I know Albert Asker. I don't know if you've met
yeah,
Albert at all. You've met Albert?
yeah.
That's cool.
At
Yeah.
some conventions.
Nice. Yeah, I think he's based in Boise-ish, I think. Does a lot of
Yeah,
comics there too. So that's super rad.
yeah. There's some comics being set in Boise lately with, I believe, Ignition Press is one of them, and then Ghost Machine.
Oh, really? That's cool.
Yeah, there's The Dog Sitter is one of them with Ignition Press, I believe.
Nice. Very cool. So, another thing I want to talk about is, a few years ago, I was kind of going through the same headspace where, just I was going through social media and I'm like, everyone just sharing all this like negative and just awful, awful stuff. And I wanted to fill my timeline with some awesome creativity because, as a creative myself, I thought, if I surround my, social media, if I'm going to sit and doom scroll social media all the time, because we're all guilty of that, right?
Yeah,
I wanted to surround myself with, inspirational people and people who are out doing cool stuff. And it was around COVID time when I even learned that indie comics was a thing. Um, and I start kind of going through looking for people to find. And of course, I was drawn to Kid Cretaceous, which at the time I didn't realize that you were based in Idaho, which I think is awesome. So why don't we
that
take a
is
minute?
cool.
Why don't we take a minute to talk about one of your other books, Kid Cretaceous? How'd you come up with the idea for that?
So that idea started about 4 years ago, and I was coming up with different ideas when I decided I wanted to come up with comics. The Kid Cretaceous first started as a four-pager. That four-page opening for the first issue was originally might be it, but I kind of used it as a proof of concept to launch the first issue as well. But I really wanted to kind of touch on something that everybody loves, and that's the superhero genre. But I didn't want to write a superhero specific book at the time either. So I kind of wanted something that was not for kids, but all ages, like a summer blockbuster the whole family would be looking forward to.
Sure.
And so I came up with Kid Cretaceous, and that's about a young girl that moves to Meridian, Idaho, and gets in a car accident and wishes her toy dinosaur could come to life and save them. And it's kind of like Toy Story meets superheroes. And that one was really cool. I partnered with Idaho Pizza to get their boxes of likeness on the comic as well. And I had a cover art done by Lane Lloyd the first time I worked with them for Kid Cretaceous 1 because of that partnership, and had a 25 copy giveaway for the launch of the comic book. And really, it kind of was it was my first time doing a Kickstarter for a comic book. I had done something for a fan Star Wars indie animation that failed before, but it was my first time really trying and kind of knowing what I was doing, and finding success was a great way to start everything out. And kind of awesome to come full circle because I've had all of my friends and family coming out for that one to make sure that I met goal. And now I've had two issues of Kid Cretaceous come out, and different comics and some anthologies, and finding success in the quickest funded campaign yet with the Twin Flames recently after that too.
Yeah. Very cool, man. Yeah, it's crazy that, I saw how quickly, after you launched it funded. That's very cool. I'm very excited for you guys and very excited for Summit Comics because it looks like it's a great book. Um,
Yeah.
so speaking of the Twin Flames, for those out there who haven't heard of it yet, why don't we take a minute and let you talk about what Twin Flames is about?
The Twin Flames is my newest book with Summit Comics, and it is the one comic that, or the most unique thing about the comic is that it focuses on a perfectly imperfect couple instead of just a single superhero or a team. There are two people that get called by an ancient Egyptian deity named Bennu to receive relics that give them power that are nearly identical but a little different. So, kind of, what if Mary Jane and Spider Man were, or Peter Parker were able to be Spider Man at the same time?
Nice. Very cool. So, how did the story come together? What was your inspiration for the story?
Believe it or not, I actually came up with the first idea the same day I came up with Kid Cretaceous. So it's been four
Right on.
years that I came up with that. I have a screenshot of my wife laughing at it because I was coming up with a ton of ideas that day. I came up with the idea for the villains that are going to show up in issue 2 of the Twin Flames. That was kind of a whole separate idea for a comic as well that day. Um, but it's rooted in ancient Egyptian mythology. As I said, I was born in Las Vegas, so it takes place in Las Vegas, where there's the Luxor Casino, where they
Yeah.
find some shady stuff happening underground, where the relics are.
Yeah.
Turns out that some ancient Greek cult used Bennu's power to create the relics, and so this is the first time that Bennu has kind of reached out to somebody to hold the relic's power for him instead of it being wielded against him.
That's cool, man. Um,
It's kind of like a Zordon figure.
that's awesome. Very, very cool. Um, with the Twin Flames, do you have plans for like a long running series? Do you have, are you gonna, is it be like a mini series kind of thing? What are your long term plans, if, this issue does well? I mean, obviously it's already doing well, but what are your future plans for Twin Flames?
I'm planning on having the first two issues cover kind of their origin and how they start out. And then I'd like to take a time jump because The first 8 pages of the Twin Flames was in Summit Pinnacle #1, and it takes place on A-Day, which was in December 2012 when the world was supposed to end. And then in Summit Pinnacle #2, that's coming out next year, the Twin Flames are in that again, but it's set in modern day. So there's a lot of years to cover for the Twin Flames. So I want to make sure that there's room to jump around with the issues and kind of play around and explore that timeline.
Sure.
And eventually, maybe there'll be new Twin Flames. So I
Nice.
do have a big story that I'd like to tell, but I don't know if 15 issues is reasonable or not with Kickstarter, but I
Sure.
think it might be with the way that Summit Comics has shown that superheroes do have a place on Kickstarter. And I kind of want to take it from there. And I have about 3 arcs worth of ideas for the Twin Flames that I'd like to tell with the main ones, and that's before hopefully being able to pass the torch.
Very cool. So with the Kickstarter going right now, it's live right now. It's going until July 8th. Again, it's already funded. So again, congratulations to you and Summit Comics. That's super awesome.
Thank
And it definitely, like you said, it definitely shows that superheroes have a place in Kickstarter. Um, we'll make sure to post, or not we, I always say we, it's just me. I'll make sure to post a link around everywhere, make sure we get even more eyes on it, make sure we get the word spread and all that good stuff. Um, for the Kickstarter, do you have any why don't we talk, some about the add-ons or any kind of the stretch goals you might have already unlocked that we can chat about?
Yeah, we can talk about that. I just announced on last Friday, I believe, the new stretch goals. We've already hit the first one, and that's going to be a free art print for Nico Noden, one half of the Twin Flames, and we're close to reaching the second stretch goal, which is a similar art print by Marco Roblin for the art, and that'll be for Soraya Noden, the better half of the Twin Flames. So you get to collect them both.
Nice.
After that, there's a sticker, which is a variant by Pete Collins for the Twin Flames. Like, here's the sticker
Nice.
that is about to be unlocked after the next print. It's pretty exciting. We just got our, I haven't gotten to hold it yet, but we just got our hands on Summit Pinnacle #1. And so it's able to be added on for this campaign. It's one of the first Summit campaigns to have it as an add on since we
Nice.
ran the campaign.
Very cool.
We have tiers where you can get drawn into issue 2. There were only 4 slots available. I'm not sure how many are left now, 3 or less. And that also comes with a copy of issue #2 as well.
Very cool. Very, very cool. So yeah, check it out now. Twin Flames is on Kickstarter. Go check out the awesome book, and there's lots of good stuff coming from Summit Comics. So definitely keep your eyes open for that.
There is.
Um, Speaking, we've talked a lot about Summit Comics. So why don't we take a minute, for those that don't know about Summit Comics, why don't we take a minute to tell everybody about it?
Summit Comics started in Travis Gibbs' Discord for the comic book community hangout that he has. And there were a few creators that already had superheroes. There was him having Upheaval, there was Devin R. Scott that had Noir, and CJ Hudson had Granite that had already released on Kickstarter. They kind of decided that it would be better to try to brand their superheroes together and create a universe and asked if there were other creators interested. I was in that OG group of creators on day one that saw it happening and was able to get included. And it was exciting to see so many creators come together and work towards a common goal and have all these ideas at the same time. And there's been a lot of good, and seeing everybody kind of work towards kind of the same end goal is kind of inspiring every day in the chat as well.
Yeah, for sure.
And we've had 8 campaigns that are successful at least now. And I'm the group editor, so my fingers are on other people's projects as well. So it really makes it all exciting. Even the ones that I don't work on sound exciting as a fan just to read.
Yeah, definitely. So you're kind of like a proud papa, like,
I am.
always sending all these babies out into the world. That's cool, man.
It is. I'm the group editor for Juna Maris, which is in Summit Presents 1 through 3, launching next month. I was the editor for Wayfarer that was already successful. I'm the editor for Bloodwake that's coming this month, I believe, as well from Adam Barnhart, and some other books as well. I've been editing Pinnacle 2 recently.
Very cool. Um, how does it feel like being, part of, this big boom in comics? You guys have been, Summit's been featured in all the big name articles, all the big name, websites. How does that feel being kind of being on the ground floor of this?
It feels exciting. It's kind of perfect because it's a group effort, so it doesn't feel like the spotlight is just on
Yeah.
me. It is exciting that so much is happening, but it seems more reasonable since there's so many of us together that everything is happening so positively. Adam is our CCO, our Chief Creative Officer, and he has also been the one reaching out to press and making sure that we talk to CBR and comicbook.com and AIPT and other great sources and podcasts that we've had exclusive with. And he's been great at reaching out for that part as well. We've got an interview that's going to be happening with Stephanie Williams with somebody not mentioned yet, but that'll be coming soon as well.
Right on.
And he's been great for setting up that press for everybody.
Cool, man. And so, you'd mentioned Travis Gibb, one of the hardest working dudes in comics, one of the nicest dudes in comics. It's very cool. And I've been, like you, I've been friends with Travis on social media for a long time. We don't really talk very much, but he does seem like a very, very nice, very genuine guy. And it seems like to me that even though he's kind of, like the figurehead, the guy in charge of Summit, if like you said, it feels like it's a group effort, like everybody kind of shares the load. It's not just on one person or another. And I think, him kind of fostering that environment is a very positive thing.
I would agree. That's why he was voted for publisher, and he kind of is helping oversee and help be one of the faces for the company and the executive team. But it is very much kind of a cooperative group effort because all of our individual titles are individually owned by the creators and just published with Summit Comics. So everybody gets to work at their own pace and kind of meet deadlines if they want to get included in other things. And it kind of lets everybody be successful at their own rate when possible. And everybody just kind of helps work towards that for everybody's own goals to work
That's
together.
awesome. Very cool.
Yeah,
So kind of almost like a modern day Image Comics, even though it's not really modern, just like a new version of Image Comics, kind of.
that was kind of the goal with setting up the company. Yeah,
That's cool. Very awesome, man. That's cool. And you guys have a bunch of really talented writers or a bunch of really talented folks working for you guys. So that's awesome. There's big things coming from Summit, and I'm very excited. I think with a lot of others are going to be pretty excited to see what you guys got cooking.
we do. I'm excited too.
Very cool. Now I know that you guys also just recently kind of adopted the 100% certified human made sticker. So
We did.
why don't we talk a little bit about that?
I actually saw that that happened while I was camping, so I did agree with it and saw it as soon as I got back that we decided to go with that label and put out that message. But it's definitely something that I agree with. I think that AI is not great in a lot of ways, but is a tool. And so any tool can be used for good or bad, just like fire can be built for warmth and food and community, or it can burn something down. It's how you use it. I don't think it has too much of a place in a creative field, but
Sure.
I think that it's great that we want to make sure that we have the human element in our work going forward, like we have the whole time, and help kind of put our foot down and make sure that the comics industry moves towards the right direction or continues to move in the right direction.
Very cool. That's awesome, man. Yeah. I know a lot of people got a lot of feelings about AI.
Yeah,
And I haven't really, I made a post last night on social media talking about AI and because I haven't really talked that much about it, but in a nutshell, I kind of have the same stance as you where, as long as you're using it, to as a tool and you're not using it to replace creativity. And somebody responded with a really cool way to look at it. And I can't remember what they said, but um basically, let me just find it real. I'm not going to find it really quick. There's so many comments, it's going to take me forever. But basically, as long as you're not, if you're using AI to leverage, learning like something you don't know, or, kind of helping with tasks like, any number of tasks that you could do. But as long as you're replacing the human element of creativity with AI, that's kind of a very positive thing. People have their opinions on each kind of AI and that how it's all bad, and I'm not going to disagree with those people at all for sure. But the stance I do want to take is, if you're going to use AI to replace creativity, that's just not the right thing to do.
right. I agree with that completely. I think as a society, it's important to also make sure that we don't become reliant on it, just like we don't
Yes,
want to become reliant on any tool too much. It's to help enhance what you can do, not replace a skill.
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you know, you can use AI to help you learn stuff, but don't, rely on it to only learn stuff because that way,
Right.
you're not going to be using your brain to think anymore because you're just going to rely on AI to think for you, and that's definitely not a good way to go
Also not
either.
good.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. All right, man. So we kind of talked a little bit about, what's coming from you. We talked about, Summit, you're working on all sorts of different things right now because you got your fingers in a whole bunch of pies. Um, but from you, what's stuff that's coming that you can talk about that's coming after Twin Flames #1?
After the Twin Flames #1, what I've got in the works is the Twin Flames #2. Hopefully, if everything's ready, I'd like to launch that in September while
Right on.
also capitalizing on if you want coming out and being able to go to Baltimore Comic Con to hang out with other Sonic Comics people with our own
Nice.
booth for the first time.
Right on.
Hopefully, that's the plan. And I already have a room and airplane ticket, so it's definitely going to happen. And
Nice.
I forgot what I was saying. What was
Uh,
I? What was the question?
what do you have coming up after #1? So you said
Oh,
you were working on making sure you could get to Balticon or Baltimore Comic Con.
yes. For Twin Flames #2, and then I've got Cretaceous #3 that's in the works as well.
Right on.
I'm writing for Cthulhu Invades 100 Acres that I need to get turned in by the end
Oh,
of the month.
is that the next one? I think I missed what the next one was. That's exciting.
Yeah, that's one of the next ones. I think
Very
he's got
cool.
Cthulhu Invades Fairy Tales 3 coming out and
Yeah,
also 100 Acre Woods.
that's awesome. Very cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Anything else coming up from you that you can talk about yet?
I'm working on reformatting the Healer's Blade. I did a prologue and had a backup story written by David D.B. Andry that um, is going to be printed in the kind of Comics and Cosmos sampler that I'm printing that I funded on BackerKit for Printopia
Nice.
2025 last year. And there's a ton of other stuff kind of in the works. I've got a Greek mythology and twisted with eldritch creatures that I started with that project too, that I am working towards hopefully next year as well.
Right on. Very cool, man. Okay, so before I let you go, because we don't want to make you late for Blake's show, because that's when all the fun stuff happens. Gotta see how many hot dogs
This is
he's.
pretty fun.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate that, but yeah, I just don't. I have a lot less hot dogs than Blake does.
Really.
So before I let you go, I want to ask you if you now could go back in time and give younger you advice, what advice would you give?
I think one of the biggest things that would help is and knowing that it's going to be okay. And even though that might sound cliche, but sometimes, especially for myself personally, I've had pressure put on me by other people in my past for sure, but I put the most pressure on myself. And if I just knew sometimes that a no is the best thing to happen and that everything really is going to work out as long as you just keep putting in the daily effort and try to get better every day and have forgiveness with yourself and grace on days that you don't make as much progress, that everything actually will work out. Whether it's peak Cretaceous number one within a few months of the idea or the Twin Flames 4 years after the idea, everything will come together how you want it to as long as you put in the effort and don't give up.
Definitely, man. And I was going to mention this earlier. I think, you and I are, I'm guessing you're probably pretty similar in age. We have kind of the same level of gray in our beard. But yeah, so I'm right there with you, man. Like growing up, just saying everything's gonna be okay sounds super cliche, like you said, but thinking about, younger me, and I'm sure you're the same way, just having someone tell you like, hey, everything's gonna be okay, like it's a pretty broad statement, but at the same time, it's very, very impactful just because all the, growing up and all the hard stuff and getting made fun of growing up, that just letting that like, hey, it's gonna be okay, like that's really good advice. And yeah, sometimes the simplest advice is the best advice. So
It is. It's kind of just being able to take a breath,
yeah.
and sometimes
And
that's all you need.
I'm with you, man. Like there's a lot of days where you try really hard and you try to make progress. You go into something to try to make a significant amount of progress. My plan is to knock all this stuff out. And of course, most times, life gets in the way and you might get nothing done, or you might not make it nearly as enough progress as you want to make. And instead of celebrating, the small wins, you just beat yourself up over the stuff that you didn't do.
That's
And
true.
that's, just, giving yourself some grace and, taking time to celebrate the little stuff. That's super important. I think we have a hard, growing up when we did, it's, there's a lot of emphasis on, you can't really relax because if you're not relaxing, you're not being productive. And
Right.
if you're not being productive, then you're not, contributing. And so, when we're not being as productive as we would like to be, we're just going to beat ourselves up over it. And that's a millennial trauma that I think a lot of millennials out there can sympathize with. And so
That definitely.
we all need to learn to kind of give ourselves a little bit of patience and grace. And, some progress is better than no progress, even if it's not as much as you wanted to do.
I definitely agree. I definitely in the last few years had to reframe the way that I looked at things on a day-to-day basis sometimes, and
For
I try
sure.
to put that into my comics. The one that has the Eldritch and Greek inspired universe that I'm creating. The first story came out last October, but I put the mantra that I started repeating to myself every morning a couple of years ago, and that's something amazing is going to happen today. And I would say it 3 times in the morning. And it's not about creating magic and making something amazing happen today. It's about reframing your brain to focus on finding out, well, what's that amazing thing going to be?
Yep.
That way you are paying attention to those good moments that happen throughout the day too.
Yeah, because I mean, it might not even be the thing you expect. Like you might think that the amazing thing might be, a big, flashy, amazing thing, but really the amazing thing could be just something, much
You saw a
smaller
cool
than that.
bird and it stopped you from something bad happening and you didn't realize it.
Exactly. It's
But
amazing.
it wasn't a great big job interview, but
Yeah,
you did see a cool bird and not get in a car accident.
that's amazing. My friend Jen, shout out to my friend Jen. She likes to call those glimmers.
Yeah,
She has tried to focus on taking more time to like stop and notice the small things like that. Like, oh hey, I saw a cool rock. That's a glimmer. Or like,
yeah,
hey, that was a neat looking leaf. Just and I'm using a lot of objects. That's a bad example, but I think the point's still there. Just that, you
right.
got to stop and Take the time to
See the
notice that
beauty.
small stuff and yeah, see the small beauty in things because, it's not always the big thing you're going to look for. There's always something cool to find. You just need to know where to find it. And sometimes we're
Yeah,
just moving too fast to notice.
definitely.
Very cool, man. All right, so one more thing before I let you go. Why don't we let the people out there know where they can find you online, where they can keep up with the cool stuff that you're doing? Where can we find you?
At Comics and Cosmos is my social media handle on pretty much any platform. And if you go to readsumm.it, you can find anything Summit Comics related, including the Twin Flames that's active right now, or any campaigns with late pledges or coming up soon. And you can read about characters as well.
Very cool. And that's such a cool URL. Bravo
It
to you
is.
guys.
Adam
Bravo.
came up with that as well. I guess
Very
IT is
nice.
usually saved for like information technology IT companies,
Yeah.
and but it works perfect for Summit.
So perfect.
Yeah,
Very cool. All right, so I want to take a minute here and I want to thank the band Polygon Horizon. Their song Pizza Force is the song I use for the show. So make sure you go check them out. It's a great song. They're great guys. Go show them some love.
I will
You
say.
can find Fueled by Weird on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. I'm on Threads too, and I might start going to Threads more because Threads is kind of awesome.
It is.
Um, a lot of positive over there and no ads, and that's awesome.
Yeah,
Um, a lot of people complain that Threads is kind of negative, but I've noticed that you get out of Threads what you put into Threads. So if you're
yeah.
getting a lot of negative, then you're probably putting a little too negative into your Threads.
Even if you're just looking.
Exactly. Also check me out at feelbyweird@gmail.com. Hit me up. Talk about all sorts of nerdy stuff. Get on the show. Whatever you guys want to do, hit me up. I'm there. Fueled by Weird's on YouTube, Spotify, and anywhere you get your podcasts. You can also find all the links to all my stuff on my Linktree. So go check that out. Also check out my dude Hassel Hutchison. He has a channel called The Nerdy Manroom Show. He also has a show called The Nerdy Manroom Show. Talks about all sorts of nerdy stuff. He does Hassel's review on there as well. He just does unboxings and stuff like that. Card Subject to Change is another show he does. It's a what if for pro wrestling. So if you're a pro wrestling fan, go check out the Nerdy Mad Room Show channel. Also, check out Big Rob's House of Entertainment and No Chinese Food. Big Rob's a good dude. He drives all around looking for all the good toy deals, lots of reviews and stuff like that. The two of us plus our friend Monster, we make up the Stay Weird Network. It's a podcast network dedicated to try to bring some awesome back to the internet because there's a lot of yuck in the internet right now. We just want to try to make it a little bit better place. Check us out at Stay Weird Network at YouTube and on YouTube and at Instagram. Also, check us out at stayweirdnetwork@gmail.com. Now, if you like the show, please leave a review and tell your friends because word of mouth is my friend. And remember, kids, not only do you love more, you need to love more, hate less, and read comics. Remember that it's only weird if you make it weird. So make it real weird. Mr. Miller, thank you so much for joining me tonight, man. I appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me. It was great.
Absolutely.